Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. Woo! Okay, where are we going? Here. So yes, I hope you're getting out in nature like Starlight is. And this is another one of those beautiful days. I better enjoy it while it's here, right? So hang on, Starlight's got to get. So anyway, I love you all, and a big, huge thank you to all of you out there who have been here, loving and supporting Starlight, and also, checking out my videos, subscribing, leaving me a thumbs up, sharing, and leaving me a comment. Thank you. And we all need each other one way or another, and that is what I tell people when I'm out in public. I open the door, or maybe they're struggling with something. Starlight will run over there and give them a hand. And I always let people need that we all need a helping hand at times. So be thoughtful of not just being about you, but also, help other people out there, wherever you are. It's not going to hurt you, hopefully, right? So anyway, I love you so much. And also, thank you for the new subscribers, and also, if anybody would love to send any love donations to Starlight, you can through my Cash App on my YouTube channel, and I will have that information here. Ping, there it is. And also, today, let's see, this is when a lot of people will be ending the night, ending their night maybe out here on this trail. It's a small little trails out here, but perfect for people that don't want a big walk. So anyway, Starlight is out here, and the new topic for today is, but before I tell you what the new topic is for today, check this out. Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, don't forget you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, plus give me a thumbs up, and you can also leave a message down below, beep, 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 and you can share my videos with your family, your friends. Don't forget to ring the notification bell, and you can check out my playlist. Plus, you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. All right. So anyway, today is, do you have a hard time hearing what does God? How come God? I kind of thought this when I was younger, going to church is like. A lot of people would say a lot about God, and I was going to church, learning about the Bible and church. But do you have a hard time hearing from God? What is, don't you wish that God could just tell you what's going on, and so what's up, like, God, how come you don't talk to Starlight? Like, I would like to know, like, how am I doing out here, like, do you feel like that? There's a lot of people, they might just kind of see what other people are doing, but really, don't know what they're talking about, because they hear conversation, especially if you're a person that goes to church. And I do know a person that goes on my YouTube channel, and she might really be able to, she might need this video because of her situation. And so anyway, that is what this is about today, is a lot of people are confused and lost and don't know what to do, as far as, their reality. And whoopsie, the trail is that way. And so this video is to help people to understand that, the universe is, we all have God in us. So the universe, we're all connected, and God is everywhere. God is everywhere. Whoopsie, I'm trying to zoom. So God is everywhere, everywhere you go, God is there, with, this universe here. So the thing is that we miss out on how God, the universe, communicates with us. And so it's very interesting. And some of you, even when I went to church, they weren't teaching this stuff. This is not stuff they were teaching. You know, how is God talking to people a long time ago? You know, like Adam and Eve, you know, I always wondered about that when I read that, you know. It's like Eve feared, was afraid because she bit of the fruit, you know, and so she hid herself, you know, knowing that, oh, God told me not to do this. So, so how can you hear from God? How can you hear, you know, from the universe? Because Adam and Eve and even Moses, I love reading that part in Exodus. That's one of my favorite books in the Bible is Exodus. I learned a lot through that, and it actually helped me to get out of an occult church. So how is Moses? How come, you know, like, how come we don't have that today? How come they had that long time ago? Like, how were they, you know, how is that possible that they knew what God was telling them, you know? And do you hear voices? Do you hear, like, God speaking to you and telling you to do things? You know, so we all, that's what is something in this world is a lot has gone on, and they do a lot of things out in the world to distract you, so you can't hear from God because you're so distracted on things that don't matter. Or let me see, you're so distracted on other things, or you're too busy. Who's got time to listen and talk to God? You know, there's people that are so busy they can't, you know, sit down and watch a half an hour of a video, or even 20 minutes or even 15 minutes of a video that could help them out. But they can watch a long ass movie and be glued to the screen, you know. I was that girl a long time ago, when I was watching TV, is that, you know, Starlight wouldn't miss a beat. When I watched a movie, man, I put it, you know, if I could, I, you know, would put the remote control on pause if I could, or wait all the way up until a commercial time, and then, you know, if I wanted snacks, I'd run out there, you know, hurry up, you know, get all my stuff, you know, because I didn't want to miss anything on that movie. Isn't it interesting how, you know, you put a movie and it's not going to help you grow, but people can, you know, they have the attention to be able to watch a movie that's not really going to help them. Hey, see, now that was a sign from the universe right there. That was a dove. So this is how God actually communicates with us. What does it mean when you see a dove? You know, that was like a gray dove that, you know, like it was, you might have seen it on the video because if my phone was directed on that. So what does it mean? You know, God speaks to us all the time, but we're missing out. You know, there's signs that God gives us, the universe gives us to help us out, you know, and guide us and on this journey. So there's things that we have to really, our two eyes actually deceive us. And so we got to also not only use our eyes, but use our ears, you know, listen when you're out in public, you know, because when you're around other people, what do you hear, you know? So I when I used to go to church, I was like, I had no clue. I just was praying and praying. I was a prayer warrior a long time ago, and now I still am. And God actually will send people your way to help you out, you know? But you got to have discernment on who to listen to. It could be a homeless person for all, you know? It doesn't have to be a preacher or a teacher, you know, for you to get a message from God to kind of guide you, you know, and you got to listen to your intuition. Your intuition is a guide, you know, like it will help you. Like they claim we only have 5 senses or whatever, but your intuition will help you and guide you in this journey of life. So I'll tell you what, what did I do the other day? Oh my, you know, Starlight does a lot of crazy stuff in her car, and I had a McDonald's cup, but I wanted to pour Oh, I had my coffee cup, which is plastic, and a McDonald's coffee cup, which is out of cardboard or whatever, paper. And so I wanted to pour my drink from my coffee mug to the McDonald's cup so I can microwave it a little bit, very little bit, or just put it in that cup or whatever. So anyway, I was ready to pour, I was sitting in the front seat of my car, but my intuition said, Starlight, you ought to just, like open up the door and pour it in. That way, if anything spills, it doesn't get all over on you, So instead of me doing what I normally have done in the past, just pour it right in. I always challenge myself with pouring stuff, like I love like opening up the hood of the car and putting window cleaner in my car so I can use the window wipers and stuff like that. So Starlight is a pro at opening up a gallon jug and have the bottle way up and not miss a drop into where the window wash will go. So Starlight loves doing that stuff. And so in my car, hello. So in my car, Starlight was just gonna pour one liquid into another container, from one container to another, but my intuition said, Starlight, open up your door and do it. And I'm like, and I listened, and I did. I opened up the door and I carefully tried to pour the one drink into the other, and what happened is, it's disgusting. You ready? Starlight loves putting cinnamon in her coffee when she was drinking it, but the cinnamon will sit all the way down, and it was a lot of cinnamon. And when I poured that from the one container to the other, I didn't realize that a whole bunch of cinnamon was in the bottom. And when I tried to pour it into the other, it missed I know what it was. I was trying to pour my coffee into a water bottle, not a soda bottle. Starlight doesn't drink soda. That's what I was trying to do, so I can save my coffee and not waste it. So here I am trying to pour the liquid from my coffee cup into a small little hole into my water bottle. And I didn't realize all that cinnamon. I mean, whoo, it was seemed like about 2 or 3 tablespoons of wet cinnamon. And it most of it just went outside. Some of it went inside. It was like a blob, and so that, if I didn't listen to my intuition, that would have been all over my pants in the car. So God does talk to us, the universe does speak to us. Other ways is like numbers, repeated numbers. Look at this. This is so cool. It stinks in here because it's all swampy, nasty stuff, but all these trees. So yeah, so the other way is God speaks to us through numbers, numbers, repeated numbers, I've been getting, I'm trying to think, like today I got the 222, 2222. So I was getting that number today, and then I get a lot of other repeating numbers, and I write them down, or a number that stands out, and then I write those down. Like you could go at McDonald's and sit at a table. Well, all those tables that I've been into, they have a number at the table. What number was that? So that is ways that God talks to us and helps us out and guides us. You might also, so numbers, animals could be another sign, is when you see an animal. Of course, there's going to be times you're going to see lots of dogs. What kind of dog was it? Just like a dream. What does it mean when you see a German Shepherd? So it's going to be messages just like the way you would interpret a dream. And other things is signs from the universe is you could get a message out on a billboard, at a library, out on the street, in a store, in a bathroom. You might be going through stuff, and you might be struggling and, trying to really push through stuff, but, you're not really confident. And you might go out in public somewhere and it will say, keep trusting the process. I actually bought a little notebook and that's what it says. It keep trusting the process. And the other day, I actually seen it's called One Blood. It's for donating blood. And it's so funny. The big bus said, get on the bus and donate your blood. So I did. That's exactly what I did. So it's really amazing how we can get signs. So I really believe the people that made that bus, they know what they're doing. When they did that, they know what they're doing, because there's people that see the signs clear as day, and just like there's people in the that watch Hollywood movies, they will check out all the symbols and they'll do a breakdown. They'll actually somehow or another will have clips of that movie, and there's no accidents in that movie. When they made that movie, sometimes people actually do see accidents in those movies. They might had a scene where somebody was wearing glasses and then they took a break, and then the next day they get back and they start off and they had to redo something all over again to perfect it. And they might have forgot to put their glasses on. I think this might be a dead end. So, like, even like this could be, I never been here, so Starlight doesn't know. This could be like a dead end, It looks like, so far, it looks like a dead end. So even where Starlight was born, it was at a dead end street. So yeah, see, there's nowhere else to go. So like even when you're driving, you go through some construction work, you might be, this is gross. Don't want to drop my phone in there. You might see construction work, and just like a dream, what does it mean when you see, construction work going on out, You got to really look at things all around you. So the signs are everywhere. God is, talking to us all the time. But like I said earlier, a lot of people are distracted on things that don't matter. And that's what they purposely did, is to bring things out there so people get distracted. Like right now, I think football is still going on, because in the winter months it goes, So a lot of people get distracted. It's okay to watch football, but how much time are you spending on it? Can you actually get up and walk away? Can you actually watch football and then, you got to go somewhere and be somewhere? Can you actually stop watching football and get all your stuff and go somewhere? Or do you got to bring football game with you when you go somewhere? That's when you're going to know if it controlling you, or are you in control of it? So those are things that you got to watch out for, is if it's controlling you, and because I actually, in the past, my job was to, I'm just going to throw mixed things together. So I'm going to scramble this up. But so say, for instance, that there's a family and the wife is cooking the dinner, and the husband expects the dinner to be hot and ready at what time? Hey, I want that dinner made and ready at 5 o'clock. So the wife's job is to, get that dinner made, and hot at 5 o'clock. But there's people that have addictions, or, that they're addicted to certain things. Like it could be sports, golf, there's some people getting into golf. I mean, everybody's got their own kind of sport. Not everybody, but there's people out there that are into sports who don't actually play the sport. They actually, watch it on TV. Race cars, fishing, it could be anything, because I've known people that were into race cars, and that's what they did on their free time. They would sit, for a long time watching race cars, go around in a circle. So it is, I laugh at these things because these are things I don't understand, so is So you got the wife inside trying to get the meal hot and ready, at a certain time. I'm going to actually turn around because of time wise. And it's 5 o'clock. And, so she lets the person know, her husband, hey, dinner's ready, even like 5 minutes before time, and, you know, the person can't even get away from what they're doing to even get to the table to have a hot meal. And she was told to make sure that meal is hot. But where did he go? She let him know, like 5 more minutes, dinner will be ready. And now it's like 10 minutes later, where now the food is not, there's some food that's really hot out of the oven, so is the sports actually controlling you, where you can't stop something, to go do something, or do you have to have the football, game or sports always there all the time? And these are distractions that people have, they get pulled away, from really knowing what God is really doing in the like all the time. It's right in your face all the time, but a lot of times we miss it because of those kind of distractions. So you really got to be careful the kind of things you're being distracted with, and people can even distract you, from, and that's why I love my time with myself. But of course, I would love that special someone with me too. But when I'm alone with myself, guess what? I can hear clearer, because I'm in that moment with myself and God, the universe, and I can hear things. But when you're around a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of sounds, and it's going to block a lot of things that, especially when you're out in nature somewhere, you might, the radio could tell you something. The radio has a way of, you could be thinking something, and then bam, the radio plays a song. Or it's crazy. I've had some crazy stuff with the radio before where, the radio could even make fun of you about stuff, and you're like, what the heck is going on? The radio, I just went and did something and it was really funny. And, depending on what kind of radio station you're listening to, because I used to have that in New York, is that, there's two forces out there, the dark or the light. So you depending on, I believe it depends on where you are in life. If you're of the light or the dark, your messages would be different. Because I did meet a man long time ago when I lived in New York. He was in the witchcraft, and he wanted to put evil spells on Starlight. He was actually putting spells on Starlight out in New York. And I was talking to him before he started doing that, is because he wanted me to be a student. He always wanted to get somebody, to teach him and stuff like that. But I was too busy. I was making a 5D for it. I didn't have time to sit there, and I didn't want to learn about black magic and putting evil spells on people. I had other things to do, so, but we both came to the conclusion, see, he was of the dark force because he wanted to hurt people. He wanted to attack people through spells. And Starlight was out there running around helping the homeless people out. So you have the light and the dark there. And what we both knew when we were talking to each other before he started putting spells on me is that he was getting messages, So the dark force can get messages, but it won't be the kind of messages the, people of light. So it is interesting how they get their own kind of messages, because they're serving a different God than what Starlight would be serving. So, and that's what you got to make sure is, what God are you serving? Where are you? You don't want to be on both sides. You only can serve one master. And I do know somebody out there right now that is going through this. They're serving two masters. So, that's the spiritual warfare we're in. What master, what one are you serving? God the creator, or the dark force. You got to pick one side. You can't, so it could really screw your life up if you are, one day you're like, oh yeah, I'm all about God today, and the next day now you want to go out and you want to hurt somebody and do something, you know, you're going to get all these different signs, and it will mess up your world. You can get in trouble with the cops. You can, man, I'll tell you what, you can end up in jail. You can, you know, make a fool out of yourself because there's a false light out there that proclaims to be of light, but it's not. And it can deceive people, you know, on thinking that they're serving God. So you got to be careful of these things. And so, like I said, and also is studying your dreams. Find out what your dreams mean is by writing them down, and do a dream journal. And that's how you can find out what God actually, hello. Hi. Hi. You can find out what God is trying to tell you. Hang on. So yeah, it does take time to find out these things. Is like I said about a dream journal, is to study your dreams and find out what does your dreams mean, and what is God, what is the universe trying to tell you and show you. Because is that there could be something going on in your life that there could be somebody that is spying on you or watching you, and you might not even know about it. But when you really pay attention and you stop getting distracted, you know, and notice the numbers, you know, repeated numbers, you know, and numbers can be anywhere, all over the place. I mean, even on this trail, there's probably numbers on this trail somewhere. And so the numbers that stand out, or repeated numbers like this, you can also get is like 222, 333, 444, 555, 666, all the way, you know, to 1212. 1111 is a great number. They're all have different messages to them, and you could be missing out on really what God is trying to communicate you with through these numbers, or even symbols. Symbols is another way of the universe actually giving you information, and that's what those people do when they study the Hollywood movies, is that there's no accident on how they created that movie, you know, because the clothes were picked out purposely for a reason. And the people that know how to read the signs and the symbols and all that in the movie, they're going to get the messages on what is really going on, you know, like warnings of the future, you know, things like that, because that's what a lot of movies are. They're getting you ready and prepared because they know what's coming, you know, for our future. And if you want to know what's going on with the future, then, you know, you really have to learn how to read into these signs, like the symbols and numbers, dreams, animals, and all that stuff. So anyway, I love you so much, and it's a hard topic to talk about, and I, you know, because a lot of people, they're still sleeping, and they're just being so distracted or too busy to even pay attention. So you got to be careful about being too busy. It's great to, you know, what are you busy doing? You know, that's the problem. I would do that, Starlight, but I'm busy. But what are you doing? You know, like to take time to do a dream journal, or take time to check out numbers, see what they mean. But a lot of it takes time. It takes discipline. So anyway, I love you so much. You take care. This is Starlight. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, plus give me a thumbs up, and you can leave me a message down below, beep, beep, beep. Plus, you could share my videos with your family or friends, and don't forget the notification bell, and check out my playlist. And you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.